my thoughts about how I helped from it from childhood, and it's took me 9 years to get to this point. So we're going to talk about my background very quickly. So this is, obviously coming from a single parent dysfunctional family. It gets you to realise what life's all about, because you don't really understand what a direction or being supportive in the way of life, of how you can move forward to get on and succeed. And can you just go back a bit? Yeah, something there I want to discuss. So obviously a life of no jobs, drinking in the family all the time, problems, sleeping. So you've got no direction. So obviously from that way of life, you've got to think to yourself, I don't want this life, this is not me. This is something you go on for years and you think, this is not right. Okay, the ginger-haired geek with the big block glasses on, and it's usually the high-heeled shoes. Well, how can I put it? I was bullied heavily in school, and because of that, I didn't have that self-belief. I didn't have a father or a role model to inspire to. And it was very daunting, because when you're getting bullied all the time, the way you look, obviously you don't have that confidence, you don't have that self-belief. It's like torture, it's pure torture, especially when you've got gangs of youth trying to, kick you up and down the pavement. Okay, so we took the ginger survival, which we just moved very quickly away from, that helped me support myself in my own way, to support that confidence, which I won't discuss because it's too long-winded. But obviously trouble always followed me, with obviously the way I looked and everything else. And I think that problem's become a bigger part of society in terms of what's actually going on, not just online, but in people in general, because we get discriminated. And I feel that that's a massive fundamental problem to people in general, of why this is being the way it's being portrayed. So okay, so we move on to, I retaliated. So, obviously, I've never thrown a punch in my life, but this, because it was so, where do we go? I just wanted out. So the only way out, whether that's wrong or whether that's right, obviously I took the punch and knocked the ringleader out. And, obviously, that is another story in itself. That could be an autobiography of just living up into, terms of how life is. So you run with this is, that was part of the way it is. That gave me some sort of internal part of thinking, but I didn't want to bully. I was never a bully boy. Never. Could never be a bully boy. Can we just move on from this, shall we? Okay, so this all started, obviously from a troubled background, obviously because no parents and had no guidance. And I think strongly into role models, and that's what FpFl is all about. We want to be big with obviously the prison side of things, which is an organisation that's run by Cabinet, called NOMS, which is a National Offender Management, which controls the prison services. I've got obviously an inventory that I'm negotiating with programme development structures. So obviously for buying, so we're bringing those specialist people in. I have the ideas, I have the vision, I have the creative vision, and I understand how this should be implemented. And I've got a connection now to see whether in the next few months whether there could be a buy-in. So without going into it all, that's obviously where I'm coming from for purpose of the life. So obviously the gangs, hanging around the gangs, obviously the bad boys, the bad culture. I wouldn't say that, but we believe that in ourselves. If you've ever been involved in that side of way of life and growing up, obviously, you go through this, everyone wants to move, you've got the youth of today on the streets have got no direction, no discipline. I understand that because I come from that side of it. But turning on them is the worst thing in the world you can do, and that's what I did because I wanted to move on. I thought, I didn't want this life. How do I get out of this way of life? So I understand the youth, and this is why it's so important for FpFl to be a major, a corporate company that can deal with these fundamental problems of reoffending with prison services. Okay, so what do we turn into? No direction, no lifestyle. It's the drugs, the cocaine, the ecstasy, the weed, getting in trouble with the police. Unfortunately, sometimes, you've got to think outside the box, and we'll come to that in a minute, because the system, the way we move, it's all about this is what we do. Now, it was very hard, once you're involved with this way of life, it's very hard getting out of it, because your self-destruct mechanisms, you're already addicted to it, so that actually captures you so that you cannot move anymore, and you believe, how do I get out? Okay, so we move on. So this leads to, obviously, from this, I got expelled from school, but I'm not actually going into why I was expelled from school. I did try my best with education. Obviously, with no guidance, I had to sort of try and support myself in terms of how do I get a job then if I haven't got qualifications? And I'm saying that to myself because I've got no direction, I've got no one to look up to. How do I go about it? How do I talk to people? So from that, so what do I do now? Confused, lost, disorientated, unclear, building what I'm going to do with my life. And I thought to myself, this can't go on, this is not reality, I don't want this life, this is not for me. And this, you remember, this is years and years and years of abuse and self-destruct, because we're looking for something that's not there. And I believe there was something there, but I couldn't not put my hands on it. So we move on. Working dead-end jobs. My first job, believe it or not, was at Solly Boy, right? I needed money, I needed to live. I thought to myself, well, I haven't got a family that works. What do you do? So I applied, got a job in macro, works. I thought, this is not for me. People looking down at me and, you know, looking through the glasses and spitting at me. I thought, not my way of life. I got recruited. Could you just go back once? Yeah, me please. Right, he recruited. I worked on the doors for many, many years. Obviously, I had to earn a living. This was all part of a syndicate. And obviously, that culture was probably worse than the gang culture because it's all activity. Obviously, being involved with it, it's like, what? But I lived it, tell the tale. Okay, so I had to earn a living. We can move on there, yeah? Okay, so in life's about learning from your mistakes. It's so easy to make mistakes, but not learn by them. And obviously I'm here because life is a mistake, 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 mistake. Unfortunately, some people don't make mistakes, but I'd like to see that Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect who doesn't make mistakes. And you have to learn by your mistakes because it's so, life is about that. It is one massive emotional roller coaster. So from failure, you've got to take the failure to be successful. So we move on. One day, I'm sitting there watching the television. Conan the Barbarian comes on the television. I don't know whether you heard of Conan the Barbarian. Comes in on his big grey horse, big white horse. And it's like, wow, I want to be him. Where did he come from? Okay, so that gave me the inspiration, that gave me the drive, that gave me the direction into the way I was going in life. So then I started setting up programs, physical activity programs, made them out of little bricks and a little bar, a little mop pole. This is how it all started. So from that was my first role model. I then won the Mr. Northwest Heavyweights, and then went through to the Mr. England, and then I competed at the Mr. Universe, qualified for the Mr. Universe Championships, and on top of all that, that gave me obviously the structure to my life, and I'm a strong believer in that side of it. In 2016, as well as my big challenge of business world, in 2016, I want to take that universe. Now I'll be 48 in 2016. And the reason being is, one, for my own self-satisfaction, to prove that I can do it, so I've got the discipline, direction and determination to do it. And secondly, to put Liverpool on the world stage, because no one in the history of Liverpool has ever put Liverpool on the world stage heritage site for being a Mr. Universe in the heavyweights. They've done it for the smaller classes, but it's never been done for the taller heavyweight classes. So that's something that we'd be proud of very, very soon in the next 4 years. Okay. So let's move on. Also, I lost a brother to heroin, so let's get it right. Losing a brother, not in death, but losing him to heroin is, I see it walking around and we live in deprivation. And I always think, you know what, bad mistake, the worst mistake. We all look for escapes, but unfortunately, I think to myself, he was a good friend, he was loyal, but paid for the best rehabilitations for him, but so deep-rooted heroin. Unfortunately, there's not much, unless you put someone with added cell, now it sounds barbaric, and let them cold turkey. That is the only way out. But, moved on, I accepted that many, many years ago. Okay, so we move away from that. And one day, This guy comes on the television, Martin Luther King, I have a dream. This guy then gives me the extra aspirations, inspirations of life to take control, even stronger, not just in mind, but in body and soul. So we move away from thinking outside the box, inside. So I see life totally different, probably how you see it because of the growing up and the way I grew up. So obviously I see it a little bit different. I understand what reinstating and self-belief is all about. These guys, the legends and role models that inspired me growing up in history. Gandhi, for his proudness of what he was about and what he stood for. Thomas Edison, I was into inventors, I was into people of manufacturing, I was big into all that side. And obviously Nelson Mandela inspired me from being 20 years in prison and still coming out and being inspired for what he stood for. So, you know, these guys are inspirational legends, and that's how life goes. You know, sometimes you just, it's what you want out of life. Success is what you're going to achieve and how you're going to do it and how determined you are. Okay. So I started the taxi business. I don't know if anyone knows about hackney businesses in Liverpool. Very competitive game, but back many years ago. Bought it about nine years ago. And bought a cabin plate. Saved up. Bought a plate, had a bit of finance, paid for it. Then I sold out, made a few quid. Bought into property. Bought one, bought another one, rented them out, bought back into the taxi business. So I've been self-employed, I've been working for myself for the last 9 years, and obviously I've moved on since then. Still involved with it, still have it, still rent it out, still have the properties. Okay, so that was that side of the way of life. Yeah, we can just move on from that. Okay, so the company that I'm here for and talk about the entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur challenge. Fit for Purpose was set up 14 months ago as a company social enterprise to help support people in re-establishing self-belief in prisons and jail and on release. Okay, so from that, one of the hardest industries in the country to break into, because anyone who's going to be getting involved, they've got whatever it is they're going to try and do, invent, create, or it's going to be anything to do with public money, government money. Everything you want to achieve or do has to be passed by government. You may think it's just council. If it's grants, that's different. But if it's something that you're trying to aim big and you're trying to get a slice of to prove that you've got what it takes, you're the idea person, you can put it to this guy and that guy, delegate what you want, and then send it to them as a package, then that's different. But it applies to us all at the end of the day. So if anybody wants a slice of that, I am negotiating terms, presenting a programme development structure for a possible buy-in or a partnership 3 months away. They could say yes, they could say on your bike. But that's life, that's how it goes. Life is all about reject. If you can't handle reject, because we're not very competitive in this country towards how people should be as part of development and people, we should be striving more to be engaging and getting more involved, to being entrepreneurs and getting involved in business. So FpFl do have a mission in the merchandising market, excuse me, to everything to be online in terms of the health market. That could be my own corporate branding in prototype models for training, that could be protein, that could be clothing. There's many things that we're looking at in the market research departments to be invested into that type of stuff as years to come. Okay, where are we? So my advice, I've been at this 9 years, excuse me, I've worked for myself for 9 years, been self-employed, I've had good times, pain and bad. You've got to take the bad. If you can't take the bad, it's no good being in business because you just crumble. It'll consume you and there's no way out. And you've just got to be so mentally focused strong. You've got to keep positive. You've got to keep on it all the time. You've got to believe in what you do. If you don't believe in what you do, you won't make it. It's as simple as that. Life is one big emotional roller coaster. You just got to know how to ride it. So everybody knows about this side of the way of life. Survival instinct, living on life's edge and taking a gamble in life. To better the life that you live now. That's what life is, it's about survival. You can't survive at bottom level if you can't go out and support yourself to get a job as well as your education. Whatever you're doing in life, you won't succeed. That's only coming from through experience of life. Okay. So that's my advice on that. So that's a little bit of my advice. Giving you better, it's alright saying this is what you want to give yourself, a better standard of living, win or lose. That's business. Lost because the property market crashed. Not in negative equity, but the properties have, well, they all pay for themselves in terms of rentals and manage. I manage and operate those very successfully, and that's hard in itself. As bad as the taxi game, it's a die-hard, cutthroat business. But obviously, because the property market crashed, the rentals have gone up. So that's, in one way, it's good. How much do you want success? Not the power of money, but the satisfaction of achieving success and how painful those journeys to strive for self-satisfaction is about. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's how much emotion pressure you can take in, and that's how we strive to be successful. You need people skills, you need to influence and convince the business world and people that you have got what they're looking for which you're flexible to. Excuse me. Being successful in business takes time, hard work, patience, rejection and perseverance. Always set your goals, timescales and achievements. Role models is a major part of life that made me become an achiever of personal success today. Now, looking at that, see this here? Just going into this, if you don't mind. Think it, plan it, and do it. Thinking's great. We can think all day long. We've got an actual vision for thinking. Plan it is two different stories. Plan it is two different stories. So that planning of your vision has got to be put into a development of planning, right? And then doing it, action. And if you haven't got the drive and you don't believe in what you're doing, an inventor, manufacturer, or an idea person, you won't make it. You've got to have everything in place to do it. Now that could take 12 months, it could take 2 years. It's took me to get FpFl to where it is up to 9 years. So that's how long, as a corporate branding of what we want to do and change, it's about influence, it's about believing in what you do. And we've got a massive audience. FpFl got something like 250,000 and growing in terms of audience, views. Our media, we do media campaigns, we're interviewing virals, and we're recruiting all different walks of life. Have a little look when you get 5 minutes because it's very interesting, very interactive, and obviously we want to grow that from what we call an embryo, I say, obviously into a mogul of how we can adapt people and support people in what they want to do, because we've got so many strands and avenues we can look at in helping develop people, obviously people skills, practical skills, and all that way of life. So okay, Yemi, I'm going to introduce our marketing leader, Yemi Mamatui. Yemi.
So anyways, you want to know, why did I get involved in this social enterprise? Actually, believe it or not, I don't actually get paid for it. Despite my task at hand, it's a full-time job, I don't get paid a dime. I accept that, it's in the early stages, but they have a good cause. And Gary's story is a child inspired me. Since the day I was born, I always been attracted to work for good causes. I work for cancer research, British Heart Foundation, so I'm used to relying on work. So Gary's story is a child inspired me even more to contribute more and work harder and do the best I can to get this company established. And why you should get involved in this company. We are a growing company, as Gary has said. We have 250 booths in total and growing. You gain practical skills, you have real subsidy CV. Also, on our site, we have a team page dedicated to our employees, which has a picture of yourself, a portfolio, so you can prove to your employees that of your work history and what you're currently doing now. And also, if you advertise for yourself, very good publicity. So you got free advertising publicity, you can prove to employees what your work history and what you've done in the past and what you're doing now. And also, 2 of our employees already, Adam and Juliana, have already got good jobs from this. Juliana went to Unilever, but she had a very big company. And Adam is a business company.
Yeah, he's landed a top job. They both have, there's 2 particular people, and Juliana and Adam Norris, and they've landed 2 top jobs in their own careers. And obviously, you know, because I'm a challenging guy, I like to challenge who's obviously beyond working with the universities as well in terms of how we can move forward and help support this in their own careers rather than obviously working in McDonald's or you know, Asda or something like that. We want to get them into their employment scales, because what we're tending to notice, and I like to say this, the corporate market has slightly moved away and they're looking for more the practical and life skills. So we're looking at that as a corporate organisation to be involved with the universities to help support that. So back to Yemi.
Also, at the moment, we're looking for journalists, web developers, business development managers, actors, filmmakers, and creative media specialists. So if any of you, particularly the skills in the field, you come and contact us, have a go aside, get with me, you can have a go and see for yourself where you can contribute to our company. Me and Gary together, we're working together to help reduce graduate employment because we know it's a big problem in this country. And Gary's actually been successful giving 2 really good references to our best employees. So it's actually working. What we're doing now is actually helping reduce graduate employment, actually giving graduates really life skills.
What it does recognise, just very quickly, Yemi, if you finish that bit.
Yes.
Do we move on from this, Yemi? Okay. So we want you to get in touch. Obviously, that's in your prime day. I'm not far behind what I'm looking for now. Still got a bit of a book, but obviously, this is our official site, FpFl.org, and obviously we've got our Facebook if anyone wants to come in, and obviously, add on as a friend request to Gary Case. Obviously, that's what we tally up to, and obviously we've got a Twitter account. Also, we've got a LinkedIn account. So. That will give you a little bit about where I'm coming from, the business world and professional networks and that. So yeah, that's basically, I think there's another page to say, thanks for listening, and remember, be self-constructive and not self-constructive. Thank you very much.